Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayanati Nashtapraeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Naistiki. We're continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 23, entitled Devahuti's Lamentation, text number 10. Devahutir Vacha Radham Vatadviju Vrishe Sadam Adad Amogha Yoga Maya Dipet Vayago Tadvami Bhartaha Yaster Bhyadhai Sanyas Sakvirtanga Sango Bhuya Gariyasi Guna Tasavah Satina. Shri Devahuti said, My dear husband, best of Brahma, I know that you have achieved perfection and are the master of all the infallible mystic powers, because you are under the protection of Yogamaya, the transcendental nature. But you once made a promise that a bodily union should now fulfill, since children are a great quality for a chaste woman who has a glorious husband. Devahuti expressed her happiness by uttering the word Vata, for she knew that her husband can you hear me? That her husband was in a highly elevated transcendental position and was under the shelter of Yogamaya. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, those who are great souls, Mahatmas, are not under the control of the material energy. The Supreme Lord has two energies, material and spiritual. The living entities are material energy, as living entities are marginal energy. As marginal energy, a person may be under the control of the material or the spiritual energy, Yogamaya. Kardamuni was a great soul, and therefore he was under the spiritual energy, which means that he was directly connected with the Supreme Lord. The symptom of this is Krishna consciousness, constant engagement in devotion service. This was known to Devahuti, yet she was anxious to have a son by bodily union with the sage. See, as you must have gone through whole 1 week of okay, so it's breaking. Just hang on, let me switch it to.
Is it better now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, it's better now.
So as you have studied throughout the last week. So when Mother Devahuti was married to Kardamuni by her father Swayambhuva Manu, and then father left, and although she was the daughter of a great king Swayambhuva Manu, but now she was married to Kardamuni, and Kardamuni was always engaged in her tapasya. And Kardamuni had promised her father that as soon as she gets a progeny, he will again just leave her and go back to her tapasya, go back to his tapasya, which was fine with Swayambhuva Manu. So, but before anything happened, Kardamuni again went into his tapasya, and Devahuti kept on serving him. And it was mentioned that he would never come out, even he would hardly come out of his tapasya, also his meditation. And if he would not eat, then Devahuti would not eat. And Devahuti was serving him so much that her husband was doing tapasya, austerities. She was doing more austerities. And then she became very thin, very haggardly. Her hair was unkept, and she was hardly eating anything because her husband wasn't eating. So it was big tapasya for her. So now, Karda Muni, when he came back from his tapasya and he saw Devhuti's situation, and they're talking, and Karda Muni glorified Devhuti, and Devhuti is saying, yeah, but you are a great soul, and she's just reminding him of his promise. For many reasons. One reason is that a Brahman's promise must be kept, otherwise he would be considered a liar. And Devhuti, first of all, didn't want it. And secondly, also Devhuti was a chaste wife. Another point is that the children keep the family together. And now Devhuti knew Karda Muni was going to leave, so she needed a son, in fact. and also look at this example. Previously, we read the example of Diti and Kashyap Muni, and how Diti got so lusty, and she wanted to have the progeny right away. She did not wait for her husband's directions or husband's inclination. And although Kashyap Muni relented and he gave her the progeny, and which ended up in two biggest terrorists of the universe in the history of the world, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. But here, Devhuti was not approaching Karda Muni out of any lusty desires. She's reminding her husband of his promise, and she had served her husband while her husband was doing austerities, tapasya. So result will be that Devhuti will have wonderful daughters first, and Lord Kapildev as her son. So very important that time of pregnancy and the consciousness of the people who are going to be involved in bringing forth a child. It's very, very important how we should be stationed, or what should be our consciousness at the time of conceiving a child. So the Prabhupada is for the writing. She reminded her husband of his promise to her parents, I will remain only until the time of Devhuti's pregnancy. She reminded him that for a chaste woman to have a child by a great personality is most glorious. She wanted to be pregnant and she prayed for that. The word Stri means expansion. By bodily union of the husband and wife, their qualities are expanded. Children born of good parents are expansions of the parents' personal qualifications. But Karda Muni and Devhuti were spiritually enlightened. Therefore, she desired from the beginning that first she be pregnant and then she be empowered with the achievement of God's grace and love of God. For a woman, it is a great ambition to have a son of the same quality as a highly qualified husband. Since she had the opportunity to have Karda Muni as her husband, she also desired to have a child by bodily union. So it's a desire, it's a natural desire of any lady to be pregnant and have children, especially have son. And this is what Mother Devhuti is asking Karda to fulfill his promise. But Karda Muni will fulfill more than just that promise. Tatreti krityam upshiksha yathopadesham yenashme karshito ati risan sanyatma siddhayate kritamano bhavadharshitaya dinastadisham bhavanam sadrisham vichakshva. Devhuti continued, My dear Lord, I am struck by excited emotion for you. Therefore, kindly make what arrangements must be made according to the scripture, so that my skinny body, emaciated through unsatisfied passion, may be rendered fit for you. Also, my Lord, please think of a suitable house for this purpose. So see, she's approaching Kardan Muni in a completely different way than how Diti had approached Kashyap Muni. She's saying, my body is very skinny and emaciated. And she's saying through unsatisfied passion, that's her humility. It was not any unsatisfied passion. It was all because of austerities or because of her service towards her husband. And she's saying, let it be fit for you. Whatever you please make the arrangements. And then she said, also, please think of a suitable house, because so far they were living in a hut and she was just serving him. But if they are going to have children, she needs a suitable house. She's not demanding that I need this or that kind of palace or something. The Vedic literatures are not only full of spiritual instruction, but are also instructive in how to prosecute material existence very nicely, with the ultimate aim of spiritual perfection. Devahuti asked her husband, therefore, how to prepare herself for sex life according to the Vedic instructions. Sex life is especially meant for having good children. The circumstances for creating good children are mentioned in Kama Shastra, the scripture in which suitable arrangements are prescribed for factually glorious sex life. Everything needed is mentioned in the scriptures. What sort of house and decorations they should be, what sort of dress the wife should have, and how she should be decorated with ointments, scents, and other attractive features, etc. With these requisites fulfilled, the husband will be attracted by her beauty, and a favorable mental situation will be created. The mental situation at the time of sex life may then be transferred into the womb of the wife, and good children can come out of the pregnancy. See, like Prabhupada said, everything is mentioned in the scriptures, every single detail of how one should lead one's life. And especially this point when they're going to have a child, when they're going to invite another soul into the body, into the world. So the mentality of consciousness is very, very important at that time. And how to create an atmosphere where favorable mental situation is created. So that's all mentioned in the scriptures. But Kali Yuga being Kali Yuga, we just misuse all these scriptures to our advantage, or are trying to satisfy our senses. But people do go through Kam Sutra or Kam Shastra, like Prabhupada mentioned, but they don't want to go through Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, because ultimately it's the ulterior motives, baser instincts that people want to gratify. Not even want to know what is there after death, or what is there in the spiritual world where we should all belong to, where we should be going towards. That's the sorry state of Kali Yuga actually. Here is a special reference to Devhuti's bodily features. Because she had become skinny, she feared that her body might have no attraction for Kardan Muni. She wanted to be instructed how to improve her bodily condition in order to attract her husband. Sexual intercourse in which the husband is attracted to the wife is sure to produce a male child. But sexual intercourse based on the attraction of the wife for the husband may produce a girl. That is mentioned in the Ayurveda. See, again, Prabhupada is not saying that he thinks. I think because a man is attracted to woman and that's why a boy will be born. No, it's mentioned in Ayurveda. When the passion of the woman is greater, there is a chance of a girl's being born. When the passion of the man is greater, then there is a possibility of a son. Devahuti wanted the passion of her husband to be increased by the arrangements mentioned in the Kama Shastra. She wanted him to instruct her in that way, and she also requested that he arrange for a suitable house, because the hermitage in which Karta Muni was living was very simple and completely in the mode of goodness, and there was less possibility of passions being aroused in his heart. And for creation, for conception of this progeny, passion was very much required. It cannot happen in the mode of goodness. So she wanted all the favorable conditions for a proper son to be born. Maitreya Uvacha, Priyaya Priyam Anvichan Kardama Yogam Astita Vimanam Kamagam Kshattas Tare Ava Virachikarat. Maitreya continued, O Vidura, seeking to please his beloved wife, the sage Kartam exercised his yogic power and instantly produced an aerial mansion that could travel at his will. Now that's yogic power. Here the words Yogam Astita are significant. The sage Kartam was completely perfect in yoga. As a result of real yoga practice, there are 8 kinds of perfection. The yogi can become smaller than the smallest, greater than the greatest, or lighter than the lightest. He can achieve anything he likes. He can create even a planet. He can establish influence over everyone, anyone, etc. In this way, yogic perfection is achieved, and after this, one can achieve the perfection of spiritual life. Thus, it was not very wonderful for Karta Muni to create a mansion in the air, according to his own desire, to fulfill the desire of his beloved wife. He at once created the palace which is described in the following verses. So, wonderful description of the palace or the planet. The palace was the planet. And at once he created it. It's not like he had to get some construction company involved, anything, nothing. He just created it. That is yogic power. Not that yogic power means that, oh, I create some little bitty, some ash, and I give it to my followers, and the followers go crazy, although Swamiji has produced some ash. This is the yogic power that Karta Muni showed. Sarva Kam Dukam Divyam, Sarva Ratna Samanvitam, Sarva Dharyupa Chayodarkam, Manistambhar Upaskritam. It was a wonderful structure, bedecked with all sorts of jewels, adorned with pillars of precious stones, and capable of yielding whatever one desired. It was equipped with every form of furniture and wealth which tended to increase in the course of time. Wow, what kind of palace he had created just by his yogic powers and thinking, and the palace. The whole planet actually was a palace, as I said. Just poofed, it just got created. The castle created in the sky by Karta Muni may be called a castle in the air, but by his mystic power of yoga, Karta Muni actually constructed a huge castle in the air. To a feeble imagination, a castle in the sky is an impossibility. But if we scrutinizingly consider the matter, we can understand that it's not impossible at all. If the Supreme Personality of Godhead can create so many planets carrying millions of castles in the air, a perfect yogi like Karta Muni can easily construct one castle in the air. The castle is described as Sarva Kama Dukam, yielding whatever one desired. It was full of jewels. Even the pillars were made of pearls and valuable stones. These valuable jewels and stones were not subject to deterioration but are everlastingly and increasingly opulent. We sometimes hear of castles thus bedecked on the surface of this earth also. The castles constructed by Lord Krishna for his lamplight during the night. So Krishna can create anything, but here Kardama Muni created a wonderful castle. It had the pillars bedecked with jewels and rooms and furniture and everything was there. Divyopakarno petam sarvakala sukhavaham pattikabhi patakabhir vichitrabhi lankritam sragbhir vichitra malyabhir manjushinjat shad angribhi dukulakshom kosheyer nana vastrer virajitam. The castle was fully equipped with all necessary paraphernalia, and it was pleasing in all seasons. It was decorated all around with flags, festoons, and artistic work of variegated colors. It was further embellished with wreaths of charming flowers that attracted sweetly humming bees, and with tapestries of linen, silk, and various other fabrics. We cannot even imagine, like Prabhupada, we cannot even imagine what kind of palace this must be. It was not a room, it was a whole palace. And here Prabhupada said it was pleasing in all seasons. So means in summertime there was air conditioning over there. Upari vinyasta nilyeshu prithak prithak Shipta Kashipubhi Kantam Paryanka Vyajanasana. The palace looked charming with beds, couches, fans, and seats, all separately arranged in 7 stories. So it was a multi-storied palace. It is understood from this verse that the castle had many stories. The word Upari Vinyasta indicate that skyscrapers were not newly invented. Even in those days, millions of years ago, the idea of building many-storied houses was current. They contained not merely 1 or 2 rooms, but many different apartments, and each was completely decorated with cushions, bedsteads, sitting places, and carpets. Tatra tatra vinikshipta nana shilpo bhavshobhitam mahamar katastalya jushtam vitram vevidhi. Its beauty was enhanced by artistic engravings here and there on the walls. The floor was of emerald with coral daisies. Wow. At the present moment, people are very proud of their architectural art, yet floors are generally decorated with colored cement. It appeared, however, that the castle constructed by the yogic powers of Kardama Muni had floors of emerald with coral daisies. And that too, Kardama Muni must have thought about it. It cannot just appear without him thinking that what he wants. And before that, he was doing his tapasya all the time. 10,000 years he did tapasya when Lord Vishnu was pleased. And then further on, after marriage, he did more tapasya. So still, he was not without imagination. So he could imagine and create. Amazing. Dvasu Vitrum Dehalya Bhatam Vajra Kapatavat Shikreshwandra Nileshu Hema Kumbharadishritam. The palace was very beautiful with its coral thresholds at the entrances and its doors bedecked with diamonds. Gold pinnacles crowned its domes of sapphire. Chakshushmat Padma Raga Griyar Vrajbhitishu Nirmita Jushtam Vichitra Vaitaner Mahaher Hematoraneh. With the choicest rubies set in its diamond walls, it appeared as though possessed of eyes. It was furnished with wonderful canopies and greatly valuable gates of gold. Artistic jewelry and decorations giving the appearance of eyes are not imaginary. Even in recent times, some Mughal emperors constructed the palaces with decorations of jeweled birds with eyes made of valuable stones. The stones have been taken away by the authorities, means the British. But the decorations are still present in some of the castles constructed by the Mughal emperors in New Delhi. The royal palaces were built with jewels and rare stones resembling eyes, and thus at night they would give off reflective light without the need of lamps. Hansapara vat vratas tatra tatra nikujitam kritrimanya manyamane swan adhiruya dhiruya cha. Here and there in that palace were multitudes of live swans and pigeons, as well as artificial swans and pigeons, so lifelike that the real swans rose above them again and again, thinking them live birds like themselves. Thus the palace vibrated with the sounds of these birds. Viharasthana Vishrama Samvesha Prana Samvesh Prangan Ajire Yathopajosham Rachiter Visma Pannam Ivatmanaha. The castle had pleasure grounds, resting chambers, bedrooms, and inner and outer yards, designed with an eye to comfort. All this caused astonishment to the sage himself. Karda Muni, being a saintly person, was living in a humble hermitage. But when he saw the palace constructed by his yogic powers, which was full of resting rooms, rooms for sex enjoyment, and inner and outer yards, he himself was astonished. That is the way of a God-gifted person. A devotee like Karda Muni exhibited such opulence by his yogic power at the request of his wife. But when the opulence was produced, he himself could not understand how such manifestations could be possible. When a yogi's power is exhibited, the yogi himself is sometimes astonished, because the power actually comes from Krishna. Even the yogi doesn't know how the power is working. And Karda Muni, look at the palace or the planet that he created. Karda Muni here, Prabhupada, he was astonished. But later on, after having children, he left. He left that palace. He left the beautiful wife, children, 9 daughters. Of course, the daughters, he got them married. And the son, who was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Karda Muni was so detached. He was not at all attached to this display of yogic powers. So that is when Krishna was very pleased and he gave him everything because of his detachment. So we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, so we'll stop here. See you all tomorrow. You all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.